What exactly is sleep? How important is it for a person? What problems do we face when we don't get enough sleep? How important is this topic for life, for health, for work, and for the success of every person? We can really feel it sharply when we don't get enough sleep. It's important to us. Let's be honest, we all love to sleep. We love that moment when we finally go to bed. It's the time when we can forget all our problems, all our tasks, everything we deal with every day, and sink into that long-awaited, pleasant sleep that allows us to truly rest. And this sleep, which brings us recovery, which brings us health, which brings us comfort in our lives, sometimes gets disrupted. Why do sleep problems occur? How does a person develop a disturbance in this typical normal function of sleep? After all, the quality of our sleep, how well we have rested, how we have spent essentially this third of our life since a person spends about a third of their life asleep will determine the state of the time we spent awake. Because during sleep, a person's brain undergoes tuning and retuning of its functioning. During sleep, the regulation of the respiratory and cardiovascular systems takes place, as well as the regulation of the body's internal state. This includes acid-base balance, blood pressure regulation, and the adjustment of the endocrine system and hormonal rebalancing of the body. A person's overall productivity, the general mood, and the fundamental state in which they will subsequently go on to spend their entire day all profoundly depend on whether they truly got a sufficient amount of restorative sleep, how exceptionally well they rested during the night, and precisely how their intricate brain was optimally tuned and prepared during that crucial period of sleep. So, what exactly is sleep for a person? The thing is, because we live on planet Earth, where there is a cycle of day, the light, period, and night, the human nervous system is set up in such a way that it contains a circadian system. What is that exactly? It is the alternation in the activity of the nervous system between distinct consecutive periods. Periods of wakefulness, when a person is engaged in active tasks, producing or doing something, and periods of sleep, when the nervous system shifts into a mode of lower energy consumption, reduced resource use, and decreased activity. And during sleep, this kind of readjustment takes place. It's like a reboot, a kind of rest for the nervous system. And this sleep then determines the proper healthy functioning of the entire body going forward. And this sleep, the period that a person spends sleeping, is vital for them, because at this moment, the most important thing is to achieve truly comfortable, optimal, and convenient conditions, which will allow for a good night's sleep, proper rest, and as a result, healthy functioning afterwards. So what conditions does a person need for sleep? What is needed during sleep? The thing is, when a person enters the period of sleep, they go through this phase of falling asleep. At this moment, it is important that the person's nervous system does not receive any unnecessary or additional stimuli. At this time, it is necessary to provide dark conditions so that there are no light stimuli. Ideally, there should be no sound stimuli either. The environment should be quiet. Ideally, there should be no touches, and other senses should not be disturbed, and a person should, during sleep, be in conditions that provide the maximum opportunity for the nervous system to rest. These should be comfortable conditions for the body, comfortable for the nervous system, and comfortable for the senses, which will allow you to rest well and get the maximum enjoyment and benefit from your sleep. Think about it, friends. Do we always have such conditions in our lives? Is our bed always comfortable? Are the conditions always comfortable? Does our schedule always allow us to get enough sleep? And do our circumstances always allow us to rest fully and completely so that we can recharge for the work ahead the next day? And that's probably why, not without reason, in the past, people always tried to choose the most comfortable and pleasant conditions for sleep. Even if we look at the traditions of our people, our grandmother's stove, on which our ancestors spent their time, on which they slept, on which they healed, on which they spent all their time, this very stove provided them with the best and most comfortable conditions for sleep and rest. So what is sleep? Sleep is when a person's nervous system shifts into a mode in which, having disconnected from the sensory organs, it simply organizes and sorts the information that was received throughout the day. This organization then allows for proper control over the functioning of all internal organs. We can distinguish several phases of sleep: the rapid eye movement REM phase and the slow wave sleep phase. During the slow wave sleep phase, there is a deeper disconnection from the sensory organs and a deeper detachment of consciousness. And it is this deep sleep phase that is characterized by a state in which a person's breathing becomes deeper, their heartbeat slows down, and blood flow decreases. During deep sleep, even the reflexes that are normally present in the nervous system are significantly suppressed. And during the deep sleep phase, the entire musculature of the body relaxes as well. It's as if a person sinks into this layer of sleep, as if they completely disconnect. But during sleep, there is a sequential alternation, and the deep sleep phase is followed by a phase of light, superficial, or rapid sleep. At this moment, the activity of the nervous system becomes more pronounced. At this moment, a person may seem to see certain images which we call dreams. These images form pictures in the person's mind. At this time, their limbs may even move, their eyes may move, and you can notice changes in their facial expressions. It's as if the person is experiencing events that were not fully resolved during the day. And the proper sequential alternation of REM sleep and deep sleep phases ensures good rest, and subsequently the healthy functioning of the nervous system in terms of controlling the function and operation of all internal organs. But how can we make sure that all of this happens? How can sleep become comfortable for a person? What can be done to achieve this? How can we make sleep proper, convenient for a person and provide the maximum rest? In order for sleep to provide good rest for a person, it is necessary to create the most optimal conditions. And one of the most important conditions for ensuring good sleep and a comfortable environment is maintaining the proper temperature. There are certain devices called turmanium mats. A turmanium mat is a device that contains a material known as turmanium ceramic. Turmanium ceramic is made from components that, when heated, produce warmth that is as close as possible to the heat of the human body. This warmth is infrared, long wave, and even biorhythmic, which means it does not conflict with our body, but is perceived by our body as its own, as something natural. Let's take a look at what a person actually gains when they sleep in good conditions, when they spend their sleep on turmanium ceramic. The very first thing a person will experience is a sense of rest. Imagine waking up and feeling that you finally got enough sleep, that nothing disturbed you during the night, and the conditions you slept in were just right. At last, you feel rested, full of strength, full of energy, and ready to work. And you have the sensation that the night passed by in just a second. When sleeping on a turmanium mat, the deep sleep phase is prolonged, during which rest is especially effective. And a person wakes up with a feeling of a well-rested body and a refreshed nervous system, enabling them to work more and increase their productivity. When a person sleeps in good conditions, they always wake up in a good mood, which ensures proper functioning and good health for the body going forward. When a person wakes up after spending the night on turmanium ceramics, they do not experience chronic pain, meaning that improper functioning of the gastrointestinal tract disappears. Proper heart function is ensured, meaning there will be no problems with arrhythmias. The respiratory system and the genitourinary system are in proper condition, functioning normally, correctly, and beautifully during sleep on the turmanium mat. And when a person wakes up and feels that their whole body is rested, that all their organs are working properly, nothing hurts and nothing bothers them. Thoughts in the head fall into the right order, and there is a feeling of so-called freshness in the head, a clear mind. And then for a person, such sleep becomes true rest and genuine pleasure that one experiences in life. And that is why mats specially designed for sleep provide a person with sleep in the most comfortable, warm conditions, where it feels like lying on something warm, as if by a grandmother's stove. The warmth soothes a person, almost completely blocking out sensations from the skin's receptors, providing total rest where nothing at all bothers the person. Moreover, friends, it should be noted that during sleep, a person's body actually cools down by about 1 degree. That's exactly why when we go to bed, we try to cover ourselves with something to create comfortable conditions for our bodies. So when a person sleeps on a warm Turmanium mat, this warmth provides the most comfortable conditions possible for the body. And these comfortable conditions ensure a good, uninterrupted sleep throughout the night. But in addition, because the Turmanium mat contains tourmaline stone, it also has the magnetic field of the tourmaline, and the mat itself provides a process known as ionization. And thanks to the presence of the magnetic field, when a person spends the whole night on the Turmanium mat, the magnetic field also affects the nerve cells located in the brain. The magnetic field leads to the alignment of the resting potential in nerve cells, which simply provides a mechanical calming of the nerves. When a person spends time in a magnetic field, that is, the magnetic field forms a kind of cushion around the human body, providing a calming effect and protecting the nervous system from stress-inducing factors. Therefore, the magnetic field and the conditions for sleeping within it are another factor in helping a person get rid of stress and allowing them to rest well during sleep. In addition, the Turmanium mat itself initiates a process called ionization. Ionization, first and foremost, is the appearance of ionized particles there, ions, charged particles in the air. And when a person spends the night on a Turmanium mat, they also breathe air that is saturated with ions, charged particles, which ensures good respiration. After all, friends, look, during sleep, it's so important for us to breathe the right kind of air, receiving the right charged particles, which further ensure proper oxygen saturation. That is why the Turmanium mat, on which a person spends the whole night, on which a person sleeps, entrusting it with the rest of their body, entrusting it with the sleep provides the most essential and comfortable conditions for a person, enveloping them in warmth, magnetic fields, and providing ionization. It ensures the best forms of rest both for the nervous system and for the entire body as a whole. I wish for your sleep to always bring you pleasure, joy, and health. And may the sleep you have on the Turmanium mat always provide you with good health and proper functioning of your entire body.